What is up, and welcome into the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by outstanding co-hosts. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State legend. He played second base for the Tigers back in the day. He was all swag. He is none other than Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Co-Smoke. And we've got our NFL draft analyst, expert, enthusiast, whatever you want to call him. He knows all things football. Let me tell you, this is his time of the year. He is Glenn Morgan, our GM. And gentlemen, just to start off, wait. Let me just say hello. How you guys doing? Let me be nice. Let me start with that. And then NFL free agency started yesterday, and the
Did
Bears.
that start?
It did
I thought that was
start,
next week.
And the Bears
Bears didn't do anything.
Had a good day. Let's be real.
Bears are really low key. They're quiet on all fronts.
Oh my goodness. They had a great day.
They did.
Great day. On paper.
So if this were the Super Bowl, we'd be winners right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think we won. We won the day. There's no doubt about it. We got what we needed.
Yeah,
I would the day.
I think we won the day.
Well, yeah, I'd say we've been winning like
if
last couple of weeks.
And if you
really.
and if you count the trades that happened the week prior,
it really
going to get. I'm a little. I'll be honest. I'm a little worried about Jonah Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But for a 6th-round pick, I'm with it. I get it. Mm-hmm. Joe Tooney, I'm all in for. That's a great addition to your offensive line. And I told you guys.
Oh, Dahlman.
Yeah. Drew Dahlman yesterday in free agency. But I told you guys that the offensive line, the fix was going to be to go through free agency. Now, I didn't realize they were able to get, trade for 2 guys. But the fix was to get your interior line fixed, and they did that. We hope.
On paper.
On paper.
Yes.
We hope.
Yeah, I think we did an amazing job. I think us and Washington had a really good free agency / trade period as well. Mm-hmm. It really seemed like they are definitely like, we're gonna maximize this rookie scale with their quarterback. But we're not here to talk about Washington. We're here to talk about the Bears. And yeah, I was very impressed with what was done. I was very impressed. They finally did what we've been asking them to do for years.
Thank you.
For years. They finally did it. Now, like we said, on paper, we don't know what's going to happen on the field, but on paper, it looks great.
Yeah, it looks good.
And,
it
looks great.
I remember when we signed Nate Jackson. That was Nate Davis Jackson.
Yeah,
Nate Davis.
Hopefully, Jonah Jackson's not Nate Jackson.
yeah.
Hopefully, he's not a combination.
When we signed Nate Davis, we thought that was going to be a good signing, and that didn't turn out right. So it's like I said, on paper it looks good. We got to wait until August and September to see if that actually works out on the field. The Bears then also after signing Drew Dahlman to that 3-year, $42 million deal, $28 million guaranteed, they went out and they did some work on the defensive line. They signed Grady Jarrett.
Absolutely.
Great signing, a defensive tackle out of Atlanta. And then they got Dayo Odeyingbo out of Indianapolis. Edge rusher, defensive end.
Right. Instead of spending all that money on Khalil Mack like you were wanting, they saved some money and got a player.
Wait. I said
younger player at that.
I said they would. I would love to see Khalil Mack come back at the right price. All right. And when I saw early on Monday too, Khalil Mack, the 1-year, $18 million deal, I was like, yeah. That's a little too rich for our blood here. We don't need.
And that's what I was saying, because of his name, it's not worth it, because it's gonna command something because of his name, and we're not 1 year away. We're not even where the Chargers were. You know what I'm saying? In terms of where we may think we are, where we were based on how we finished the Bears, how the Bears finished last season. So no, but to get someone younger and to stretch your money a little bit further and get someone who is an up and coming player that, you know, may have not yet reached his potential and may be unlocked by having better defenders playing alongside you, having a Grady Jarrett there on the defense, you know, having a third year player and with my guy from Florida. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Jivers?
Yes.
He was the
No,
Rams, right?
No.
On our team. Javon Dexter.
Javon
Dexter. I apologize, everybody, but just went blank for a second. But having Javon Dexter, you know, be that much further along, and of course Montez Sweat, and now we have Billings come back. You've got a really good rotation now, interior rotation, and that's the kind of stuff that can help an edge rusher because he's not going to be facing any double teams. You know, he's has an ability where he can beat somebody one-on-one. And then you still have, so you're increasing that depth, and that's something that this offensive line, as good as it looks potentially right now, and by good I mean being like a legitimate NFL offensive line, there's still a depth issue that we need to be concerned about. And but the good thing is addressing both trenches, sides of the trenches like they have, the Bears have opened up their possibilities when it comes to who and what they may take in the first round, maybe even giving a possibility of trading down and acquiring a few more picks. But I still think they need to draft an offensive lineman. I still think they need to draft another defensive lineman. I think they need to draft a slot receiver, and I think they need to consider a running back as well as a safety backup for Brisker, who had an injury, and you know that's a serious injury. That's can be a career type defining. Should I come back? Should I not come back? Kind of injury, particularly because of the way that he plays. So you can't ignore that. But I think it seems as though all the mistakes that Poles did last year were not recreated. You know, he didn't repeat those. So that's a good thing. It looked as though either he held himself to task in the mirror, but looking in the mirror, and or others helped hold him to that. And maybe there's better influential minds that are at House Hall now than they were before. I know you mentioned you're concerned about Jackson, and I get it, but I think that particular acquisition had a lot to do with Ben Johnson, you know, and I think if Ben is comfortable with what this guy can do, I feel a little bit better about that because he's at least a known quantity to someone, and someone that's worked. Like Nate Davis wasn't a known commodity to anybody here. It was just, you know, we trusted Poles picking offensive linemen, blah blah blah. Here it's
thirsty for a lineman,
and we were thirsty for one. But here it seems as though, you know, the acquisition was made, and again the price was, you know, 6th round, like you said. It was made based off of a relationship and an understanding, and something that can pay dividends. Even if he's injured, keep in mind, or you know, if he's in and out, he's still his understanding. I'm talking about Jackson. His understanding of the offense can only help the offensive line, you know, better understand what the head coach wants and how the offensive line should maneuver. And as far as Tooney goes, again, it seems as though that connection to Kansas City could possibly pay dividends. Again, his accolades speak for themselves, but you've got that connection and that ability to talk to others who have worked with him and know who and how he is and what kind of work ethic you're getting, what kind of leadership you're getting. And I think that's something we didn't have with that offensive line last year at all. You did not have that leadership. It wasn't coming from anyone, from anywhere. And you had too many, you know, disparate parts trying to move in some type of unison. It just didn't happen. Here, you've got different, you know, it's a whole new offensive line, more or less, at least definitely the interior. But you're talking about veteran guys who are been in leadership positions on their line, and guys who have won. Tooney, you've been to various Super Bowls. You've got Dahlman, who's been a center for 4 years. Centers, you know, if they're not the captains on the team most of the time, they're your full captains on the team because they get the line in order, they see everything, and they work in connection with the quarterback and the line coach in terms of calling protections, so on and so forth. And then you got Jackson, again, a veteran, someone who understands the system. So I think you have a lot more football, a lot better football IQ, a lot better football pedigree. So I feel better about the offensive line. I really do. And the defensive line, The Falcons letting Jared go. I mean, the Bears had wasted no time and scooped him up. So again, addressing a situation that has been problematic for the Bears for some time in terms of getting the right person in there. And I think the Bears have gotten certain veterans that they're just on the precipice of being too old, but they're not there just yet. And they still got some good football left in them. And hopefully within the next couple of years, the Bears can take advantage of these current acquisitions and really make headway and be a player when it comes to the playoffs.
I think they got a good mix of guys, age wise. Tooney's probably an older guy,
right?
At 33,
32,
but that's
33,
30. Yeah, but you can use that in a locker room. Grady
Exactly.
Jarrett was a team leader in Atlanta for a long time. He's at 31, but then you go and you get Yingbo is what?
27?
26, 27.
Yeah.
In that range. Jonah Jackson is 28. So it's that's a good good mix of guys.
Exactly.
In there. So that's always a good thing when you talk about your locker room. Who else is there?
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You got it.
I was going to ask you, so what do you guys think we should do with that 10th pick now? Seeing as how the line, quote unquote, has been addressed both offensively and defensively.
I think this is one of the rare times for the Bears that we should go best available.
Best available, even if that's Genchi.
If he's best available at that time, take him.
You want that guy that size?
Well, you know what?
Overall.
He ain't gonna be the 10th pick best available though.
Wow.
But just in case he is, no.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Just in case he is,
I
take that back then. I just don't see. I don't think. So me saying that, I definitely don't anticipate him being best available.
I've seen some boards where he's like third on the board, man. Overall.
That's because they're knuckleheads.
That's crazy.
I'm just saying it's out there.
And I'm just saying they're knuckleheads.
This draft too deep at risk at running back.
You never see that on the Morgan board.
No.
No.
I say either
running backs are coming back, man. They're coming back.
They never left in my eyes, but you ain't seeing that dude at 3. He's not Barry Sanders.
Now, I think tackles is the pick, right? Whether it's Campbell, Banks. Maybe you can trade down.
I like Armand Mimbo out of Missouri. I like him at 10. I really like him at 10.
But do you?
I was about to say trade down.
Do you trade down for that though?
I'm fine with trade. I said I'm really with what the Bears have done in free agency. I feel good at 10. Like I said, options, and one of those options is trading down. You trade down to say 15 and get you another 3rd round pick for this season and maybe a 4th round pick for next season. I'm okay with that. Or if you're able to snooker someone with a late 2nd round pick and maybe like a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick for next year, I'm fine with that because, like you said, best player available. There are some things that when you move down a little bit further, what that does is that shakes your tree a little bit more. You see what else happens. See what else falls your way. Hell, you've been in a position where you could trade down twice, to be quite honest with you. You say you go from 10 to 15 and go from 15 to 21. I'm not pissed because at 21, you're probably still going to get an offensive lineman. At that point, maybe you can get another interior offensive lineman. I feel better about getting interior guards, center types between 20, top 15, more like tackles. To me, guards, unless you're just some super duper crazed guard, for me, most time when you get your interior offensive lineman, I'm thinking if they're 1st round guys, I'm thinking in the mid 20s throughout the rest of the draft. And you can fall in that range and possibly do that. And then you bolster because Tooney also has that flexibility to be a left tackle. So if Braxton's not completely healthy, because that ankle could be issuematic for him, maybe he doesn't start right away. He's not ready for the season right away. Maybe he's out, for 6 weeks on injured reserve or whatever the case might be. And then maybe Tooney's at left guard. Maybe that guy you drafted can be that interior person that comes in because you get a Donovan Jackson at that point. You know, I mean, you have this ability, man, to really flesh out your roster, something that we've been talking about for the last couple of years, something that I felt as though Poles didn't take as much advantage of as he could have, having the 2 number 1 picks back to back like he did, you know. So this is that opportunity. You can do that, because I mean, man, if you can somehow finagle a way to where you have 6 picks in the top 100 for this season, now you really are talking. You have an opportunity here to potentially really do what we saw Washington do last year and change your season around in one season. Or as it is right now, the Bears, you know, they have 4 picks in the top 100. You got 10, 39, 41, 72. And that's going to change a little bit when everyone starts making more, you know, moves and what have you. They may move up, move down a little bit, but basically, for all intents and purposes, right now, let's say trade away one of these 4 picks. They've got 4 picks in the first 100. That's really good. You trade down a couple of times and you come up with 6, maybe, you know,
They
6
could
picks in the top 100.
use a couple of late rounds. But I think that's after that 4. I think they have 1 more left after that. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. We don't have a 4th round pick this year.
We don't have a 4th round pick this year, right? So
excuse me, after 75.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. After that until I think the 7th round, if I'm not mistaken.
So I'm just saying, you know, that's
all right. Let's say Will Campbell's there at 10.
I'm okay with that. I think he's, in my opinion, I hate to say because his arms are short, that'd be the only reason, but sometimes that does bear itself out at the NFL level, because at talent level, you need something to help, you know, create as much separation as you possibly can.
Yeah, alligator arms.
Yeah, but he does move well. His athleticism is good, so I like the fact that he at least gives you that versatility, and he doesn't necessarily have to start. I mean, right now you have Braxton still on the roster. Tooney has been able to play left. We saw him do that last year. So Will doesn't necessarily have to be the left tackle. You know what I mean? You know, if it's better to move Tooney out there and then have Will go inside a guard, then do that. Because if that's the case, take that for an example. You draft Will Campbell, but he's not ready. Braxton's not ready to be your starting left tackle. You can move Tooney out the left tackle, put Will Campbell at guard, and between Dahlman and Tooney, you've got that veteran that can help that young guy. So it's not necessarily as raw a player put in a position with no one to help him. He's got solid help on both sides. You can live with that based off Campbell's ability and athleticism, and not only that, but just what he has shown playing in the SEC for the last several seasons like he has. So it's not like, you know, you're talking about a guy who's arguably a top 5 pick, clearly a top 15 pick. So, you know, more times than not, those guys usually come in and the world is asked of them. You wouldn't be asking that of him. You'd be asking him to fit in, and that acclimation period wouldn't be necessarily as brutal as it would be if he was just left out there on an island at left tackle.
That's going to be interesting to see what they do. I know Tooney, I think we're projecting him to be a guard, but I wonder if that conversation was had with him and Ben Johnson. If we may need you to move out to tackle again, which he did in Kansas City this past season, playing some left tackle. So that's something to think about. If you draft a guy like this, could you move him inside maybe for this first year, just to get acclimated? Hey, maybe Braxton Jones comes back.
I still think
and grows a little bit here going into his. This is going to be his 4th season.
Yes,
4th season. Yeah.
The other thing too is, and someone not mentioned it as well, sometimes, you know, you can look worse because of people who are around you. Just as much as I was just saying, Will Campbell could possibly, you know, be buoyed by having Tooney to his left and Dahlman to his right. Braxton could be a lot better having Tooney right next to him. You got all pro next to you. Guys been, you know, a couple of Super Bowls who's seen it, could really help you out a little bit, you know. But I like the idea of trading back a little bit, man, because again, let's say, you trade back twice. You go from 10 to say 15 to 17, from 15 to 17, you fall back into the 22 to 24 range. You don't necessarily at that point have to take an offensive lineman. Maybe you take your edge rusher for the future. Maybe you take a guy like Mike Green out of Marshall, take a guy like James Pierce out of Tennessee if he's still there. A Nick Skirton out of Texas A&M. I'm really high on Landon Jackson. I think he'll be there maybe in the second round, maybe as far as the
I was
third
just
round.
looking at him. He got a little bit of a crazy look to him.
Dude, I love Landon Jackson, bro, because not just because of the crazy look, but you're talking about a guy who's got a wingspan. Again, I've talked about it before. It's 80 plus. I out of all the I shouldn't say all of, but out of a lot of the edge rushers I've seen, he legitimately has a fluidity in his hips and he's comfortable dropping back into space. He's not a guy that just runs upfield. He can do it all. He can hold at the point of attack. He can drop back into that short zone area. He's got really good hands. He's good at his read and react is very good. He doesn't get knocked off his feet. He's good at penetrating double teams. He's good at getting upfield and causing disruption in the backfield. I'm surprised he's not really rated higher, to be quite honest with you. I think he's one of those guys, who is underestimated more so than he should be. But again, it's such a really good class. He's maybe not the explosive guy like Abdul Carter is, or Jalen Walker out of Georgia, or Shamar Stewart. He may not have that kind of explosion. And I think when people are looking at classic edge rushers, or I shouldn't say classic, but in their mind's eye, what they envision a pass rusher look like, they're looking for those guys who are, coming off the edge with their hair on fire, and he doesn't have any hair, but coming off the edge, not even on his eyebrows, but looking like guys who are coming, off the edge with that kind of first step explosion. And that's not Landon Jackson, but that's fine. You don't always, people, it's great to have that. I'm not knocking that, but when you can still be disruptive and when you can still do things to cause pressure and create turnovers on defense, that's the goal, man. Is to get that offense off the field any way you can. And Landon, he gives you such a maneuverable, malleable defensive chess piece right there that you get someone like him, you can utilize him, and he's big enough that you can slide him inside. And now you're getting someone with pass rushing ability inside, whose first step is probably more problematic for guards and centers than it would be for a tackle who's braced to kind of, ride him out if he tries to come around the edge. Here you got a guy who can get upfield a lot quicker. And with his arm length, just think about him and Devon Dexter next to each other on the pass rush and on a nickel situation. With the length of their arms, getting up, batting passes or obscuring the quarterback's vision. Especially a lot of these quarterbacks nowadays, everybody ain't 6'5", 6'4". You're getting these quarterbacks, you play Arizona. You play someone that's got a 6-foot quarterback, 6'1" quarterback. You're obscuring their vision. You're knocking down passes. I really, really, really am pushing for the Bears to draft someone like him. But all that being said, I really believe that what the Bears have done in free agency gives them that flexibility to move down from 10. And yeah.
Measurables for him: 6'6", 264, ran a 4.68 40.
Stupid.
At the combine, 40.5-inch vertical jump,
Dude,
10'9" broad jump. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good explosion right there. And
not bad on the track field, but
but
I guess that's measured in football.
Yeah, but you watch him play. I'm serious. Everyone, you get an opportunity, don't just watch the highlights. Go and catch a game against good teams. See how he plays against Alabama. See how he plays against Tennessee. See how he plays against Ole Miss. See how those games are and see how disruptive he is.
I don't know if I remember right. The Ole Miss game didn't go too well for anyone at Arkansas this past year.
You can even watch. Here's the thing. Here's where you can tell a tale. Even more so how well does a player play?
That was like the 65-0 game, I think.
Well, how well does a player play when the team underperforms, when they play poorly? Javon Dexter had some of his better games when they lost to teams. I remember when they lost to Alabama, he had a really good game. The team sucked, but he fared pretty well. And so, that's sometimes how you can kind of tell what kind of player you're getting. It's always good, when you got a guy who's playing great when everything's going well. Okay, what do you like when the chips are down? What do you like when your back's against the wall? And what other cliche I can come up with?
I lied. It was 63-31.
See, there you go.
Ole Miss.
Yeah. I only got beat twice as bad.
But no, I saw that. It's interesting. I was actually just looking at him when you said Landon Jackson. So that would be interesting. Maybe that second round pick for a third round.
Yeah,
for him.
Absolutely. Because there are so many explosive edge rushers this year. It's probably why someone like him is in that, second, third. He's a second day guy, just probably because of that. Guy like James Pierce, though, you trade down, and maybe you want that kind of edge rusher. A guy who, again, pretty good at the point of attack, but you just want a guy who's sub 4.5 flat. He ran a 4.47 at the combine, 6'5", 243. That's insane. That guy's running faster than your running backs. He's tracking them down. He's running faster than some of your receivers. He's faster than your tight end. I mean, he's got long arms. He can, he gets upfield. He's all these guys that play in the SEC or the Big Ten, two of these premier conferences where they're going up against, the guys that are being drafted in the same first round as they are. To let you know, man, that you have an opportunity here to really fortify your trenches. And if nothing else, this past Super Bowl taught us, if you're good in offensive line and you're good to great on the defensive line, you're going to be there and you can create problems no matter who the quarterback is. No matter who the quarterback. We saw Tom Brady. We've seen him be harangued and harassed by the Giants back when he was with the Patriots, and they lost both those Super Bowls against the Giants. Why? That front four defensively. We saw Patrick Mahomes against Tampa Bay get molested and mauled. We saw it again against Philadelphia. And you're seeing teams that didn't have to blitz, and they're still getting pressure on Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks. Arguably, two people that at quarterback that most people consider the GOAT and the future GOAT. It doesn't matter who your quarterback is if you can create that kind of pressure. And the Bears have an opportunity now to maybe do that and at the same time protect themselves against it being done to them. I think they really need to look into that with their first couple of picks.
Now let's go on across the league. Just look at where some players went. I'm just going to start because he's one of my favorites. My man, Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Signs a 2-year deal with the New York Jets. 2 years, $40 million, $30 million guaranteed for him. So he got a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Had to pay for that trip from Dubai.
Yeah.
Vacationing in Dubai. He's paid for now.
I'm sure
I'm joking. I'm sure it was already paid for. Yes.
He had it in the bag. But now,
so
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, do you think that that's a good move, or should he have stayed in Pittsburgh?
Curious that Pittsburgh. I thought they would have just stayed with Russ. Doesn't look like that's going to happen now. But if Russ wasn't there, why not go with the guy that got you to a 4-2 record while he was there?
Well, all the indications I got is that Pittsburgh wanted Justin.
Really?
Those are the indications that I got, but Justin didn't necessarily want them.
Stay, well,
and I get it
because they let him. They walked him, bench walked him.
Yeah,
at 4-2.
But he had to expect that.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to be the starter to begin with. It was supposed to be Russ anyway.
Right. But what are the Jets looking? Is this a rebuilding situation for them now, or?
Well, I think they have a little bit of time, and you have a contract that's basically essentially for 1 year, really, when you look at it. So right now he's a stopgap quarterback, but you never know. He's 26, so his future is still somewhat bright. He got some of that bad juju from being in Chicago out of him a little bit, And I mentioned to you guys last week, he's going to be reunited with Garrett Wilson. So, that connectivity and we know that Justin likes to push the ball deep. They have a decent line, which they can improve during the draft. And they got a hell of a running back, one of the better running backs in the league. And they have a hell of a defense. So there are some things that Justin, like each team is a little bit better in some respects than where he was starting out in Chicago. Pittsburgh still has some issues offensively. They really only had like one receiver, to be quite honest. The tight ends were good. Offensive line still a bit of a issue. The running back solid. The defense is very good, and the culture was a lot better. Yeah, the culture is a lot better.
Solid.
Running backs, I said, were solid. Yeah, not the running back. The running backs as a collective. But here you go to New York. You probably has a better opportunity to really get out there and play. I'm not familiar with the offensive coordinator in terms of how they're going to try and implement Justin. I hope it's not just a focus on his running ability. I hope they get back to him passing the ball. Mm-hmm. So it's not the toughest division in the world. Buffalo is the king of the hill there. Miami is still refiguring some things. Yeah, they're refiguring some things out. They got some cap situations they're still trying to get beyond, and they got a receiver that is waffling. So who knows what kind of dissension that might cause throughout the season. And New England is still very much in its infancy as far as its rebuilding goes. So, yeah, I think it's a decent spot for him. But here's the one thing: he's not going to. There's a lot more scrutiny in New York media than it. If you thought Chicago was bad, New York's really going to be after you.
I think the expectations, though, has been shot to shit in New York, though. So I think he's got to them at the right time.
I would agree with you because both New York teams
got to them at the right time, right?
So you're not going to compare it to
where they were. But that's really when they come after you, though.
Yeah, but after what they experienced with Aaron Rodgers, after that failure, I don't see them being as harsh on Justin as if Aaron Rodgers had somewhat of success, some semblance of success, and then they didn't bring him back, and then brought Justin.
I don't know. They still got to sell some papers.
Well, they will because it's
in
New
the
York.
number one market.
But keep in mind, the Giants suck too. So you don't have the owners of the Giants being good putting pressure on you. They still got their issues. They're still trying to find a quarterback themselves. I mean, both New York teams well, the Jets have theirs, quote unquote, and New York's still trying to find one. Whether or not it'll be Russ, I think Russ might end up in New York. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to go there for his last. If Rodgers lands anywhere, it'll probably be Pittsburgh.
Not too many more availabilities left. Let's see. We said Khalil Mack 1 year, $18 million to the Chargers. Right before free agency started, I guess we could stick with the quarterback position. Geno Smith traded to Vegas
good move
for a third-round pick. Follows Pete Carroll there, and that opens up the Seahawks to then sign Sam Darnold.
As much as I trumpeted
Minnesota,
as much as I trumpeted Sam Darnold's move from San Francisco to Minnesota last year, and people thought I was crazy and looked at me sideways, being like, you're just a Minnesota fan. Yeah. I'm like, dude, it's a great move. It's going to work out. As much as I trumpeted that, I think this is not a good move for Sam Darnold. Lockett is gone, and Metcalf is gone, and their offensive line is not what it was, like how Minnesota's is. You got two good running backs. That's nice. You got a decent tight end, but you got a whole lot of older problems, and it's a tough division. Arizona's going to be a lot better. I mean, San Francisco's probably falling off, so that helps. But the Rams and Arizona are going to be very, very much in the thick of things. So I think Seattle takes a step back. Maybe Darnold. He's reunited with Kubiak, and maybe conceptually that'll help him. But concepts they got to flesh themselves out in the field, and
Yeah.
those are two different elements right there.
Also, right before free agency, the big one, Myles Garrett stays in
I
Cleveland.
Money
do
talks.
not
Man,
get that.
Money talks.
I don't get that, man. I
that's a
mean,
that's
Money
that's a
talks.
lot of money to what is it? 4 years. Um,
I don't get that, man.
hold on. What's the
Yeah,
entire
40 a year.
contract here? Averages 4, but how many years is it though? It's a
Is it
four
an
year
additional
4 year
4 years?
extension. Four
Yeah.
years, yeah. 4 years, 123.5 million guaranteed on the deal.
I,
What I mean, there's still, I mean, are they thinking that the Deshaun deal is
no,
going to go away, or
no.
that's a
It,
lot of money to be tossed to two players. And
it,
Deshaun's not even playing next season.
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't. If you're the Browns, why do that? Why lock yourself into that? Especially when the guy says, "I want to trade." I'm like, okay, thank you. Hey, 31 other teams, what you got? Because we should be able to get a nice haul for him because we're basically rebuilding, but we can do it a lot quicker by unloading Garrett. And we don't even look bad because he asked for the trade. We
Yeah.
don't even look like the bad guys. We look like we're trying to salvage the team. We look like we're trying to do right by our best player, and you got the second pick overall. I'd be like, dude, you could really leverage some stuff. No, no, no. Let's tie ourselves up some more in the salary cap hell because we're self. It's like those people who take those whips and beat themselves with it. It's just
Do you? What if
just
what if they re-signed him to assure a trade?
But who's
Because
gonna
they kind of didn't. I mean, that's what I was about to say.
who's
Like,
gonna take
will
that?
somebody be willing to pay that money?
Yeah.
but now you just limit what you could get because now it's more finite because you do have this
I mean,
salary albatross around
I
his
was gonna
neck.
say maybe if there's 1 year remaining on the deal, maybe even 2 years, but not the whole thing.
Oh, it's a lot easier to
That's
unload him before
that's
you sign that,
tough.
that deal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough to do. I don't know. I don't know
Uh,
about that.
and I don't get it. I know you say Garrett, the money's hard to walk away from, but it's like if your motivation is I play hard because of how I get paid, okay. I know some of that's there, but week in and week out, it's hard for me to mentally feel like I'm playing hard to keep losing. Like at some point, man, that's got to wear on your mentality as a competitor. It
No,
just
like Smoke
has
Well,
to.
to
said, like
be to
like
be
Smoke
fair,
said, man, money talks, man.
they was in the playoffs 2 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, last they were in the playoffs. I mean,
right. And last year happened, and this year looks like it's going to be worse than last year. So I thought Garrett was getting out ahead of it. I thought Miles was like, "Hey, yo, I see where this is going. I'm out." I've contributed enough. I've been here. I've been to playoffs twice, maybe 3 times in his career. I think just twice. Once under Mayfield, and then under Flacco,
Flacco.
basically. Like, but that to me that was the weirdest. I think Garrett's a winner fiscally, but I think I don't think he wins in terms of what it's gonna the sacrifices he's gonna be making mentally and emotionally to try and lift this team to victories each week. And I know the Browns, I don't think they won at all. I think they just further put another clamp around their neck with this salary.
Uh
Washington, I think, is among the winners, though. We talked about that a little bit ahead of time.
mhm. Washington, what were the big they got
Laramie Tunsil.
Well, they got
McNichols, they
Laramie
got
Tunsil.
Tunsil, that's right. That was a trade.
That does a
They got him in a
trade,
trade, right?
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also Debo Samuel in a trade.
Mm-hmm.
But they re-signed the middle linebacker. They re-signed both tight ends, and they picked up. Oh, who did they just
Didn't they
pick up?
pick up a safety?
Um they got Will Harris.
but they picked up somebody. They did something else, but I think they've kind of solidified some areas. Um, you look at these like Devontae Adams. I think he's with the Rams now.
Rams, yeah.
I thought the Rams did a nice thing. Again, some of these teams did good just by re-signing some of their guys, who were going to be out there. I think the Rams re-signing or extending, I should say, Stafford was good, and they providing with. Although you're moving off of Cooper Kupp, you're getting Devontae Adams. It's a different type of All Pro, but you got another All Pro to throw the ball to.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to continue what they've been doing.
Pittsburgh got DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh and DK Metcalf. Yeah, but again, the question is
paying him
throwing the
$5
ball.
for 150 is crazy. That's wild.
Especially if we don't know who's throwing them the ball.
It's just especially.
Well, I guess Mike Thomas said it don't matter.
It matters.
DK, I don't think he 150 worthy.
I think he can be on that team, given the if they get a good quarterback. The problem is, even if you get a quarterback for this year, I don't know how sustainable. It seems like you may be getting a quarterback for a couple, like say it's Aaron Rodgers going there a year, maybe two. You're still gonna have that problem the following year per se.
I pray he go there.
Aaron Rodgers?
I pray go there. And
you don't like the Steelers.
And I pray Tomlin streak gets ended.
Oh my goodness!
Why?
Because I hate Aaron Rodgers. I want him to go away. And if he is the reason Mike Tomlin's streak gets snapped, the media better crucify him. I'm so sick of them trying to beat him into our brains. Man, he's done. He's done. Go away. Retire. It is over. It's over. So yeah, go to Pittsburgh and you be the reason Mike Tomlin's streak ends.
What if the reason Tomlin gets his second Super Bowl win?
He won't. He won't be that. He won't be that.
What do you think that a relationship would be like?
Weird. You'll get a press conference where Tomlin's doing everything he possibly can to not say Aaron's name. He won't be mentioned. Our quarterback is handling things in a way that is not quite comporting of the Pittsburgh Steelers situation at hand and how things have been done here over my tenure. So with that being said, next question. That's kind of speak out of the preview to your press conferences with Mike Tomlin. Daniel Jackson somehow has convinced the Colts.
Daniel
Jones. I'm sorry, Daniel Jackson. I don't even know who that is.
We've been saying Jackson all night, man.
You're gonna be right part of the
every free agent is Jackson.
It's Jackson. Jackson. Sexual chocolate. I'm sorry. So Daniel Jones somehow has convinced the Colts that he's a buffer in case Anthony Richardson, isn't the guy that they thought he was when they drafted him, in the top 5 several years ago. Anthony Richardson is going to have to compete against another athletic quarterback. I'll say that much. I mean, Daniel Jones, I'm not saying he has the same athleticism as Richardson, but he is an athlete. And there may be a thing where Daniel Jones in practice, some of these preseason games may look to be the better passer. And so that's going to make an interesting locker room. I don't know how many guys are Anthony Richardson guys. I don't know how many guys are going to be Daniel Jones guys if he looks like he can do and implement the offense the way it should be implemented. It's going to be curious. I don't know the culture like the most. I don't know team in the NFL. They could go one way or the other, and every year it seems that they find themselves between 7, 8, and 9 wins.
Anthony Richardson lost me when he on the drive asked to come out of a game.
That might be where he lost the coaching staff and the front office too.
I can see a receiver maybe doing that, or maybe a running back.
Gotcha.
Quarterback, you don't know. You don't do that. That's out of the question. And he probably lost, like you said, he probably lost some coaches there, probably lost the front office there.
Yeah.
And now it's just a matter of time just to get him off the books at this
That's
point.
what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Daniel Jones left the comfort of Minnesota. I mean, you figure with Sam gone, and you still not really knowing how good JJ McCarthy may or may not be, how healthy he may not be. Daniel Jones in Minnesota could do what Darnold did, kind of, maybe have an opportunity to improve his playability and his stock. But maybe he feels he's got a better opportunity. Clearly, he feels he got a better opportunity in Indianapolis. That's why he left. I mean, look, it's not like Indianapolis doesn't have a good offensive line, a hell of a running back, and some really, really good receivers. So it's really good. It's a better situation than he had in New York by far.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, you're talking about
and he's indoor.
It's indoors. You're talking about a division that's not. I'll say it's competitive, but it's not like it's you're not in you're not playing Philadelphia twice a week. You're not dealing with Dallas's athletes. You're not dealing with a burgeoning Washington team. You're not in the North, where two of the teams opposite you are definitely playoff teams, and Chicago looks like they're going to be a problem going forward.
3 of the teams.
So you go out to the AFC South, and Houston, okay, Jacksonville is a mishmash. Tennessee still looking for a quarterback to really lead them as well. So yeah, I mean, it's the Colts. You got an opportunity here to maybe sneak away and win a division potentially. I'll put it this way: your depth at quarterback is improved with a question mark in Indianapolis. Or your athleticism definitely has improved.
Yeah. I personally would rather have Joe Flacco than either of those two, but that's just me.
Yeah, Flacco's. He might need to go back on the couch, man. At this point,
just me. I just throwing that out there. I'm not a Daniel Jones fan either.
But, at all.
Yeah, but a lot of people weren't Sam Bradford fans, and then he had a really good year last year. Baker Mayfield,
Sam
Darnold,
yeah.
Sam Bradford.
I'm not a Sam Bradford fan either.
Sam Darnold, same guy. But no, but Sam Darnold. Thank you. And people weren't Baker Mayfield fans, and then he, reconstituted his career in Tampa Bay, and now he looks to be a mainstay there. So, maybe a facelift, get somebody knows. I'll put it this way: I like Steichen. I think he's a really good offensive coordinator. He's with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts flourished underneath him. I think you could do a lot worse than him at head coach / coordinator. And maybe someone like Daniel Jones can benefit from the type of play calling, and then the Colts organization may be able to put themselves in a better situation than where they have been, instead of just kind of floundering in no man's land.
So really good few days of free agency. So now we're fully into the draft season here, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Next few weeks we got got visits coming up, pro days.
Yeah.
So yeah, should be fun as we dwindle down who the Bears are going to take with these first 3 picks, definitely. Being that we got some the first round of the top 10 pick, and then 2 in the second round. So
don't forget trades too, man. There's still the specter of trades. You talked earlier about the 49ers unloading a lot of players. Teams are going to be picking up some of these guys that are just left dangling. You look at a team like the Texans that is, they let Laramie Tunsil go, so they may be in the running for an offensive tackle. They may want to try and move up in the draft to try and see if they can secure. Maybe that's could be a trade partner for Chicago. They made some moves where they got a receiver from Christian Kirk from Jacksonville to help out their receiving core. Okay, you got all these skill guys, a receiver. You need somebody to block, So it doesn't seem like the Texans are shy when it comes to making moves. So maybe that can be someone that the Bears speak with. The Bears, again, what they've done in free agency allows them to not have to draft that tackle with the 10th pick overall. They can move back a little bit.
But I
Maybe
would.
some other stuff. Yeah, I would too.
I would. Oh, last thing before we get out of the Bears, Keenan Allen. What do you think is going to happen with that?
I think he'll be allowed to walk. I mean, why? I mean, if I'm him, you try and glom on somewhere. Maybe maybe you go to Washington. I don't know. You go to some team that is close enough to maybe go to Dallas. They need number 2. Play somewhere a little bit warmer. Go somewhere. I guess he's not going to go back to the Chargers, but I mean, maybe Buffalo. It's a little bit colder for a guy from Cali. He may not want to go to Buffalo, but
You could win.
Yeah, but there are other teams out there that are competitive that can use his services at least for 1 year, especially a wily veteran like him who's got the size, the hands, and the length and ability to get open. He doesn't need speed to get open, and he can be that guy that be that Larry Fitzgerald type kind of aging potential future Hall of Famer who just controls the middle of the field with his ability and his skill.
Real quick, the Bulls still not figuring out what the assignment is here.
Dude, the assignment is make the playoffs.
They keep winning games. They are, what are they, 4 games up now in the 10th spot?
Yeah.
And they're only like a half game out of the 7, I think.
Dude, I mean,
a game and a half.
Giddey messing up his ankle might just help them start losing it. But Lorenzo Ball gets an opportunity here to, be the point guard that he was brought in to begin with, to play a little more minutes.
The teams keep balling. By the way, they messed up a 10-leg parlay for me. The Orlando game, I had like just player points. I did 10 players. I hit 9 out of the 10.
Damn.
The one I didn't get was Zach Collins. All I needed him to score was 6 points. He scored 3 and then fouled out in 12 minutes.
Wow, that is insane. That was perfect. That was specifically cited at you.
Man,
he did that. He did that
just for me.
Just for you. That makes no sense.
Crazy.
Man. But anyway, we are going to talk about though in the NBA this whole LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith thing that's going on.
Fiasco.
LeBron went. Now I got to give him that. He went man to man. Caught Stephen A. sitting courtside of the Laker game, and without saying so many words, told him to keep his son's name out his mouth.
Really
weak.
I think that's weak. I'm
weak.
You tell me why you think it's weak, and I'll tell you why I think it's weak if it's not for the same reason.
I mean, first off, saying keep my son's name out your mouth. Dude, he's a professional. He's an adult. Mm-hmm. He's a professional. Mm-hmm. You're in the NBA. You're unfortunately, LeBron, you're not dad in this moment. If you want to be dad, that's why your son gets criticized. This is a grown man's game, not for little boys. And you just made your son look like a little boy on national TV. He's not a man to no one else's eyes now. You need daddy to come run and protect you. Daddy had to run and protect you and put you on my team, on his team. Daddy's telling the organization, no, you're not going to go on the road trips with the G League team. You're going to stay with us. Daddy. Man, get the hell out of here, man. That's the weakest shit in the world, dog. And LeBron James is weak for that. He's weak for that. He's drew all the criticism that has come his son's way. And now you want to try to pump your chest at somebody who you feel was an easy target, who didn't even shit on your son, more so came at you for the antics that you're pulling. Man, that's weak. It's weak. Lost a lot of respect for LeBron James when it came to
it. Yes, I concur with everything you said. On top of that, you addressed a man to man. Dude, how long have you known Stephen A. Smith?
Exactly.
You can't do that publicly. What were you trying to? That's like for
You
show.
you wanted it for show.
Yeah, it's like for show, and it's like, dude, you want to do it man to man. You call him. You handle. You want to handle it man to man. I'm coming to your house. I'm calling you. I mean, you've had that kind of relationship and that kind of access with him. You're one of the top 10 superstars in all of sports globally. If you say, Steven, I want to talk to you, wherever, when and wherever, Stephen A. Smith's going to be there. Why? Because you're who you are and he is who he is. He's still a reporter. He's still chasing stories, whatever the case might be. He will acquiesce to you saying you want to have a conversation with him. How many times did we hear Stephen A. Smith say, well, I was doing this and because I know and I don't say things, although I could? Because he's clearly having conversations off the record. So why not handle that off the record? You did that for show. And by doing that for show, everything that Smoke just said is what people look at you as now. It was unnecessary. You think this is the first time someone said anything about Bronny? No, it won't be the last time. What is your point? What are you trying to say here?
Man.
Who are you defending your son against?
Exactly.
It was much to do about nothing, and now a nothing's become a something because of the ridiculousness of putting on a show because you felt some kind of way and didn't think it through. It's almost as ridiculous as Will Smith getting up there slapping somebody, on stage.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm so sick of this narrative that people who you can just easily tell don't want to get on LeBron's bad side. Since when do we even talk about a 55th pick? Man, shut up, man.
You're in the league.
Shut up. You're in the league. Everyone know you didn't deserve to be in the league. You averaged 4 points in college. If you wanted it to be that you was drafted on your own merit,
should have stayed.
Your dad shouldn't have came out saying he's going to go to whatever team that takes his son. Boom. Oh, well, LA, let's keep him here. Like 55. Well, it's only 60 picks in the draft. So, like, come on, man. It's no secret here. Now, granted, hey, you want to flex your muscle, get your kid in the league, do it. If you got the ability to do it. I'm not against you there. Nepotism is something that, hey, use it to your advantage. Cool. But don't get mad when the criticism comes.
Right.
You cannot have it both ways. Can't have it both ways. Like, come on, man. It's garbage. And people are really trying to make excuses for him. Then I see media members siding with LeBron James, and it irks me to see guys like Acho and y'all are all siding with this. I hope every professional that's of age, that is around y'all age, that y'all shit on, come and knock one of y'all asses out. And they will be justified. Since LeBron, a dad, everybody in the NBA has a goddamn daddy. Every player has a dad. If T. Morant jumped up in a media member's face on behalf of Ja Morant, he will be called a clown.
Yep.
Everywhere. LeVar Ball was shitted on by the media for bigging up his kids. But because he LeBron James, we gonna make excuses? Man, get the hell out of here. And his son ain't nowhere near LeVar Ball kids.
Not even.
Damn, they ain't as good as Jello, and he ain't even in the league. Come on, man. And I'm a Bronny James. And
Jello got a hit single, man.
Like miss me with that, man. Y'all, like, it's crazy.
Damn,
it's
man.
Crazy the limits they go to just to please. Like, come on, man.
I thought I was gonna be able to give a point here, and y'all done stole my thunder because y'all are right. Dang. No, but I mean, speaking from Bronny's point, Bronny's got to be upset about this.
I would hope so.
Because, in that it's got to make him look bad in that locker room. If not that locker room, definitely the what is the G League team called?
South Bay Lakers.
Yeah, definitely in that locker room.
It's emasculating.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what's crazy?
And he may need to have talk with his dad about that.
You know what's crazy?
What's that?
I don't think it bothers him.
No.
I
it's
I would hope so. It would bother me.
Unless
you would hope.
Unless LeBron has so much pull that part of it's not even coming out in that locker room, which is possible. But I would think being that, around sports artists, I know it. Something is out there. Something.
But it probably ain't. I mean, we seeing now, like Dwight Howard came out saying because he told LeBron stop acting like a B word, he got kicked off the Lakers.
Yeah.
So people probably biting their tongue. We will hear something once somebody leaves the organization. That's when we'll hear something.
Yeah.
No one's gonna say nothing while they're there.
You ain't see Michael Jordan, dude. That's another reason why Michael wins over LeBron. You ain't see Michael Jordan.
Mike would never.
He would never. You better earn on your own.
Mike knew
they're gonna use my last name. You better earn it on your own.
He knew they was trash.
That too.
Oh man, Mike would never. What are y'all doing?
What he did was, Jeff, you got a scholarship to Illinois. How? That's the most he did for you.
Oh, they could. Man, Jeff and Marcus could play in high school. I give them that.
Terrible.
They could. They were.
Jeff definitely was trash.
Jeff was decent at Loyola.
But Eric Gordon gave him the business.
Eric Gordon in the league. I'm talking as a high school player.
Man, they had them people rated in the nation. They were trash.
That ain't fair. Trash. Jeff was all right, and I don't know if I can say. I can say this.
Marcus was better than Jeff.
Marcus definitely was better than Jeff.
Marcus was so cool. I used to see Marcus at Bon V, and he was 17 and had table service. I'm just saying, or had bottle service. Excuse me. I'm just saying, but no, they were all right. They were all right. Marcus won a state championship.
Yeah, he did.
But Mike would never.
Never.
That's gonna do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I want to thank everyone for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch us on YouTube. Don't forget that, YouTube. Search for hp53productions.com, and you'll find the YouTube page, and you'll find our video podcast. And you can also catch us at hp53productions.com. Yo, Glenn.
Yep.
Please take us out.
Hey, man. It's like we always tell you here at Easy Smoking the Gym podcast. We ain't saying we right. We just know we ain't LeBron James wrong.
He would never.